First off, I'd like to apologize for missing the first one. I was out of town and was very saddened by having to miss it. But my name's Jared Brennick. I'm running for place 6. To tell you a little bit about myself, I've always been a Texan. I was born to educators. My father was a teacher at a Title I elementary in Houston. My mom was a teacher, fortunate enough to be at my high school where I was attending. And so nothing was better than having to be sent to my mom when I got in trouble. I think my service all started when I was a volunteer. I was part of the Backpack Coalition, Watchdogs, and also did junior achievement for school. Wanted to get more involved this year, and I think that I learned a lot about the districts. I probably have one of the unique experiences of having my daughter live on both sides of the district. She attended a Title I school when we lived on the east side, and now she attends Great Oaks, where she is on the west side. So excited for this and very passionate about making a difference for the school district.
I'm the incumbent for place 6. I got interested in school district and everything going on back in at the end of 2016, and I joined the CBC at the end of 2016, and I've been on the board since November of 2017. When I interviewed for the board position last November, I promised to listen to the public, engage with the public, and I think I've done that. I had a goal of seeking input from the public on forming the bond that we would need and soliciting some support for the bond, and I've tried to do that. I'm a Westwood dad. I've got 2 kids, a senior and a sophomore. They're both in band, and I'm an active band parent. Enjoy that. I'm very proud of Westwood High School. I'll give you a couple of statistics in my last 10 seconds. $16 million of scholarships for Westwood High School, and I just saw that there were 75 National Merit Scholarships in the district, and 57 came from Westwood.
Thank you.
So whatever we're doing is working.
Thank you.
My name is Chin Choi, and I'm running for place 6. I am a typical Asian American engineer. I don't go public anyway, and I just pay my tax, and hopefully that it will somehow end up in the right place, doing the right thing. As you all know, the failure of the 2017 bond that's not the case. So, and I got the opportunity to find out to participate in the Citizen Bond Committee. Through this process, I have found out that there's more need to be done. So some issue I see is that the project criteria, currently I don't see any set criteria for ranking projects, and as you see that there are people campaigning against the bond because of this, I think. And transparency, and while we are in CDC, and a lot of people were frustrated, not able to get information and doesn't have the time to review the information or data before the meeting starts. Thank you.
Here, I'm running for place 5 on the school board. I've been an active PTA member in RRISD since 2004. My husband and I have 5 children, aging range from 10 to 21. 2 are graduates of McNeil, 2 still attend McNeil, and then I have 1 that's still at Pond Springs Elementary. I've been PTA president at both Deer Park and at McNeil. I served on the 2014, 2017, and 2018 Citizens Bond Committees, and I was a graduate of the 2013 Leadership Round Rock ISD class under Dr. Chavez. It's been my pleasure and my privilege to serve in PTAs across this district and to work with people in all the different feeder patterns, and I look forward to being able to do that at a higher level on the board. Thank you. Again.
Good evening. My name is Edward Hammond, and I have served on the board now for about 19 months. I moved to Round Rock about 7 years ago. Ever since I moved to Round Rock, I've been involved in some capacity. I've served on multiple boards and committees since I've been here. In particular for the school district, I've served on the Citizens Bond Committee. I was the Citizens Bond Committee chair, and I graduated the Round Rock ISD leadership class as well. While living in Round Rock, I have been a commercial banker for the past 7 years. I have a background in finance, private total for about 12 years. So again, it's been my pleasure to serve the citizens of this community, and I look forward to continuing to serve going forward.
So my name is Cory Vessa. I'm also running for place 4. I have 2 kids, one at Canyon Creek Elementary, she's a 5th grader, and one at Grisham Middle School, and he's an 8th grader. And we are like beyond excited for him to come to Westwood. And he plays trumpet, so he is like bound and determined to make the varsity band so that he can, in the marching band. And we've just been doing so much with that these past few weeks, and it's been so much fun. So I love our schools. I moved to the district in 2009. My son started at Canyon Creek in 2010. And as many of you know, because many of you know me, I serve in our schools a lot because I love our schools. My background is in public policy. I have an undergraduate degree in political science from Trinity University and a master's degree in public affairs from the LBJ School at UT Austin.
Is David G. Schmidt. I use the G because there are 2 other David Schmidts in the district. I want to thank the PTA for hosting this forum. I'm sorry I couldn't make the one last week at Cedar Ridge. I'm running for school board for my daughters. They're both here this evening. Christiana, my oldest, Tricia, my youngest. I'm running for the thousands just like them that don't play sports but go to school for quality education. I do not want to see them or anyone burdened with unnecessary debt. Any bond we pass today will be theirs because bonds typically have a 25-year payback. I expect to be held accountable by you, the voters. I'll be transparent, and I will be a taxpayer's voice. I'll be the best trustee I possibly can be. I'm self-funding my campaign to avoid any perceived conflict with the city of Round Rock or the Round Rock Chamber. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stuart Litwin, and I am also running for Place 4 for the Round Rock ISD Board of Trustees. That's 4 of us. 4 of us for Place 4. So my parents moved with our family to Dallas when I was 3 years old. So unlike Jared, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as fast as I could. I lived in Texas, grew up in Texas. We lived out of state after I graduated college, then we came back. In 1995, we moved to Round Rock. And we've lived in Round Rock since then, with the exception of 2 years we were on an overseas assignment in Japan. I spent my career in semiconductor engineering and management. I now work as a part-time consultant to the technology industry. I was served on the 2018 Citizen Bond Committee. I saw areas that I feel needed improving. I want to help facilitate those improvements, and I think by being on the board, I can best do that. Thank you very much.
Weston, and I'm running for place 3 here on the school board because I know that education is important and it's worth making sacrifices for. My husband and I have 5 children. One graduated from A&M a couple of years ago. I have another son who's graduating from Texas Tech in December. We have a son at ACC, and we have kids still in the district in 8th and 9th grade. When we found out that we would be relocating to Central Texas several years ago, we chose Round Rock ISD for the schools. And one of the first things that I did was apply for a transfer for my youngest children to attend one of our campuses on the east side so that they could grow up in a dual language school, which was also an IB school here in our district. And we're really glad that we did because they got a great education. I'm really happy to be here at Westwood High School. This is a very special place because of what the parents and the students do and the sacrifices they make. Thank you.
I'm Amber Feller. I have lived in Round Rock and been a homeowner since 2002. I have 3 children that are currently in the district. I have an 11th grader who's in the Talented and Gifted program. I have a 10th grader who's in general education, and I have a 3rd grader who's in special education. I've had a lifelong passion for education. It's why I'm currently wanting to run for the board. I think that education is the key to the future. And I think that everyone who goes through Round Rock schools should be either college or career ready by the time they graduate from high school. I have most recently served as the chair of the district-wide subcommittee on the CBC, the Citizens Bond Committee, where we evaluated over 260 projects, 64 or 5 of them which ended up on the bond that's up for this election as well. I am excited to represent you, and I will be an advocate for your children, and I will be an advocate for you as a community member. Thank you so much, and don't forget Amber Feller, place 3.
Stephen, were you the June 21st board meeting where the district's police department was authorized after midnight in a 5-2 vote? And what were your thoughts about the authorization of such a contentious resolution?
I believe I was present. In fact, I believe I was part of the vote. I was actually part of the two. And, you know, I'm trying to reflect back on that evening, but I know we heard quite a few people speak from the public, and we're asked to take a pause, pump the brakes, I think someone said, and I thought that that was appropriate. So that's why I voted to take a pause and pump the brakes.
And the next person is Chin.
No, I was not.
I was not present at the June 21st meeting. It was the State Bar annual meeting, and I was in Houston. I did try to watch it on television, but did fall asleep during the second closed session, so did not see when the trustees came back out. I would have preferred that I'd been on the board to wait, to slow down on that vote until we had more information. And hopefully, as we move forward, we'll be able to have a better discussion about that.
Thank you. Edward.
Yes, I was present, and I stand by my vote. I voted for the resolution. I didn't see a reason why these conversations could not go parallel to other options. You know, it could very well have got to the end of the road and we didn't have any option, and then we wouldn't have had the police option as well. But if you have those conversations run parallel, you have an opportunity to let those get to the finish line, possibly together, possibly one before the other, but at least you give yourselves options and you don't get down the road where you don't have an opportunity to make a decision.
I wasn't at the meeting, but I watched it, and I definitely have an opinion on this issue because my son is at Grisham Middle School who didn't have an SRO, which is a policeman, there from November onward. Williamson County was unable to fill that vacancy. And so this is definitely an issue that's close to my heart because I want there to be a police officer at every middle and high school like there should be. So we need to solve this problem.
Thank you. David.
Opposed the police department. I even have a long, lengthy video about it on my website. I watched the public hearing that was there prior, the budget hearing that was the public meeting prior to the board meeting, as well as the very lengthy board meeting that went on past midnight. Thank you.
Thank you. Stuart.
I was not at the meeting. I was at the Democratic State Party Convention in Fort Worth instead, being active in a different way. I did hear about it the next morning, and I was very disappointed in the board. The Tuesday prior to the meeting, I was at a meeting, a citizen meeting at the Indian Church, where we discussed that there was a strong need to postpone the vote, and I supported that decision, that it was premature to bring in a police chief before all options have been discussed.
Thank you. Danielle.
Yes, I was at that meeting. In fact, it's a meeting that I would not have missed, given the gravity of what the trustees were discussing. And no, I was not satisfied with the way I saw things play out, and my feelings that night are consistent with what many other people who came to that meeting, the way they felt. I've also taken the time to meet with the police chief of another ISD police department, and a lot of the concerns that I had that night were validated by my conversation with him.
Thank you. Amber.
I was at that meeting, and I think that we left about 1:20 that morning, and I actually reread the resolution again today, and 3 times in the resolution it says, with community feedback and with community involvement. And my #1 priority when it comes to this is that we keep our kids safe. I'm not saying that I am set on a single direction in terms of keeping that safe, but currently there is not one option on the table other than an independent police department that can guarantee our children's safety.
As a student in Houston, when I was growing up, we had a police force for our district in Aldine ISD, and I feel like, you know, as we went through the CBC, the safety and security of our children is paramount. You know, I do watch dogs for my daughter, and as I walk around her school, being able to just walk straight up to a portable scares me. And I think that having more control over that is definitely something that would benefit our district. And while we need to answer questions, something has to be done.
As you know, the district currently has a school bond election in November. Do you support the bond and plan on voting for the bond? Yes or no? And why or why not?
Well, there are a lot of items in the bond that a lot of students will be benefited from. So yes, I would like to support this bond. However, I would not like to be quoted such that every voter should be an informed voter. So imagine that you are being asked by a reporter, you should be able to tell your reason of why you voted yes or no. So yes, I will be voting for the bond.
Thank you. Amy?
I do plan to vote yes on this bond, though I did have, and still do have, concerns about some of the costs on this bond. And as a parent, I have to say, I hope that if I'm elected or whoever is on the bond, up on the board, that this bond and the projects of this bond will be managed much better than they were in the 2014 bonds, particularly on McNeil, and that we don't have a project like that runs over and we have to vote $16 million extra in it to finish.
Thank you. Edwin?
Yes, I do plan to support the bond. I voted to move forward with the bond. Growth is not waiting on any of us. The aging of these buildings are not waiting on any of us. If we don't move forward now, when will we? We have to be in a position to where we're going to pay less and not more. The longer we wait, all these opportunities to provide facilities for our students and our teachers are just going to continue to pass us by. We have to move forward.
Answer is yes, I will vote for the bond, but if you want a more nuanced answer, I have a position paper on this on my website. You go to the blog posts, and if you go to my Facebook page, it's under notes. And it's in, so you can read my entire position on this issue. But I do believe that it's not perfect, and if I had been on the board, I would have done things differently. But yes, I will vote for it.
Thank you. David?
I'm voting no on the bond. The board did not listen to the CBC part, did not listen to the community feedback survey. There were over 6,000 respondents. They were told don't bundle, they bundle. They were told don't overprice projects, they overpriced. And the cost of the bond is excessive.
Thank you. Stuart?
So I plan on voting for the bond. I do support the bond. I see the reason I'm supporting it is the needs of the district are great, and this bond addresses many of those issues. I do have some reservations with some of the costs, as mentioned by a couple of the other people up here, and I agree with those concerns. But all in all, because of the great needs for the district, I do plan on voting for it.
Thank you. Danielle?
School boards don't pass bonds, and city councils don't pass bonds. Communities do. Bonds represent an opportunity to bring communities together. I don't believe that our community has healed from what happened with the 2017 bond, but this I do know. The voters in Round Rock ISD are smart, and I'm confident that they will get this decision right. And the truth is that after this election happens, the bond decision will have already been made. And what I can tell you is that I will respect the decision of the voters.
Amber?
I do support the bond, and one of the biggest reasons I support it is every single project that is on this bond was ranked a 1, which means it was determined a critical need by a committee made entirely up of community members. The current board of trustees did not put a single project on this bond that was not ranked a 1. There are an additional $400 million worth of projects that did not make this bond. These are critical needs. Our students need it, our children need it, and I am voting for this bond.
Thank you. Assuming no change to state funding formulas, what action should our Round Rock ISD take with spending to deal with the projected $22 million budget deficit in 2019 and 2020.
There is a God and He loves me. Okay, this is my whole issue. Like, we need to mobilize people. We need to get out there and tell our state legislators that enough is enough. They have been cutting funding for education every session. Last session, they cut $2 billion from state education funding. This session, they want to cut like another $3 billion. We need to mobilize because they will listen to us. And we need to get out there, and we need to call them, and we need to go down to the Capitol
Thank you,
and
Cory.
make our voices heard.
Cory, thank you. David?
I'm very passionate about this.
That was a tough act to follow. The district needs to deal with the circumstances as they are. If the state comes through with money, that's wonderful. The district has a substantial reserve that they can use, but that's not the answer. The district has paid for a study that was done by the Gibson Group that made some recommendations to help save money, and they need to follow some of those recommendations.
Thank you. Stuart?
So it is a difficult question. So one of the things I would like to see do is use the capital budget to help lower the M&A expenses. An example of that would be to any new construction put on a solar roof. That would cut the electrical cost for the district and move the cost into an infrastructure and issue.
Thank you. Danielle?
Okay, so one of the many things that our school district is doing right is they are paying attention to what's going on in the Capitol. Our school district actually has a seat at the table on the Texas House Committee regarding school funding, so that's good news. I will tell you that we have a lot of smart people that work for our district, and they are already thinking about how we're going to move forward. But really, when it comes to budgeting, it's just like what you and I do at home. You have to rank your priorities from top to bottom, and then you draw the line where you have to draw the line.
Thank you. Amber?
So I believe that the district is doing some wonderful forethought into this because this problem's not going away. There are already some people that have a whole lot more experience in this area that have given the district some recommendations that I highly recommend that we follow. I have a lot of confidence in our finance department as we are the only district in the state of Texas that has a AAA bond rating by both Fitch and Moody. Out of 1,200 school districts, we're the only one. So we have some people that know how to manage money. Relying on our general fund is not the answer, so that we need to start looking at where we can cut our bottom line.
Thank you. Jared?
First off, I want to thank you for taking that away right in front of me. You know, again, I want to echo the whole thing about, you know, being the one district in the state that has a AAA rating. I also agree with Cory. I think that more has to be done where we speak with our representatives to go out and fight against these policies that stack up against our students and teachers. You know, there are many cases, you know, that are in our district where we can look for a better ROI. A guy came to one of the board meetings and talked about killing the lights at night, right, and saving money there. So I think we have to do a better job of ranking and making that.
Thank you. Steve?
Okay, so I believe that there's a two-pronged approach. Cory outlined that we need to mobilize and go lobby state legislators. I can tell you, I'm not going to do that. I'm not an activist, but God bless the people that do. But what I do promise to do is keep a hawkish eye on the money that we spend through our INS and M&O budget, and I want to get as much money as possible towards teachers and classrooms where the learning is happening. And I believe in spending the district money like my own, and I'm pretty cheap.
Chin? Thank you.
Yes, I agree with that. Everyone have stated, so I will ask them. So, anyway, we do need to address this issue in the legislature. So we do have to have a movement that go to the state and tell them to fund our public school, and that's the most effective solution than cutting.
Thank you. Amy?
Well, I believe that we are definitely going to have to reallocate where we spend some of our maintenance and operation budget. I agree with Steve that we really have to protect the classroom teachers and the learning that goes on in the classroom. Unfortunately, our AAA bond rating doesn't affect our M&O and our deficit. It doesn't help us. The bond money doesn't help us in that area. We are going to have to learn to balance our checkbook and balance our budget. And it's going to be tough. We're going to have some tough decisions coming up, and we're going to have to decide as a board together.
Thank you. Edward?
Yes, I think the district has done a good job with balancing the budget. You know, unfortunately, when bonds don't pass, you have to pay for facilities somehow. You have to pay for projects somehow. That comes out of general fund. So, you know, going forward, the district will do what they've done in the past, and they do watch their expenses. You know, there's been times where this district has always come in over budget with a surplus, but when you're having to spend money out of the general fund, that's when you begin to see the negative.
As a board trustee, how can you be equity for all Round Rock ISD, not just for your community?
Say that one more time.
Sure. As it's written, as a board of trustees, how you can be equity for all Round Rock ISD, not just for your community.
Okay, so this is actually one of the things I'm really excited about to serve as a trustee member, is that we don't represent just our feeder pattern. We represent the entire district. I would not feel right if I had advocated for something that came to my feeder pattern when there was a need across the district that was greater, but I advocated it just for my feeder pattern. So I think it's really exciting, and it's a wonderful opportunity to get to know the variances that are in the district, and the wonderful community that is Westwood, and the wonderful community that is Stony Point, and the differences that are between the two.
Thank you. Jared?
Yes, as I mentioned in kind of the intro, the big thing for me is that I've lived on both sides of the district, and I've seen the vast differences. You know, for me, you know, it is about all the kids. It's about, you know, it's about Hernandez who doesn't have a track. It's about every little bit and giving, you know, every single child the opportunity to have success. You know, ultimately, I'm very passionate about that. You know, coming up as a son of a principal and seeing that firsthand, it's been very emotional for me. So I'm excited to fight for all the kids.
Thank you. Stephen?
So I had mentioned in my opening remarks some really great statistics about what's going on in Westwood. I'm interested in taking a lot of that goodness and exporting it to some of the high schools and middle schools for them to enjoy a similar success to us. I went to a TASB meeting over this weekend. We're talking about closing the achievement gap, and that's a hard question. But one thing that we need to do is focus on teaching teachers how to best teach kids to read. And we're doing some of that, but we can do more.
Thank you. Chin?
Well, the first thing is to go to the schools and actually understand what those student needs or the schools need. So in order to have those needs, and then you can get those funding to build up those equity that is required. You know, if I'm elected, I will be visiting all the schools, asking questions, build up those equity for every student, not just the low achievement.
Thank you. Amy?
Thank you. As part of the 2014 Citizens Bond Committee, I actually went into that concerned about my own feeder pattern, McNeil, Deer Park, and Bond Springs. But as part of that process, my committee visited every middle school and every high school. And it was eye-opening. The concerns that I had for my schools, they didn't seem as important after visiting some of the other schools. So it did become very easy to advocate for all the students of Round Rock ISD once you had seen all the different schools.
Thank you. Edward?
Yes, I think it's been said a couple of times, and I do agree. You have to go out to these campuses and visit. You have to talk to the teachers, figure out what the needs are, talk to the kids, become a mentor in the community like I did. You know, just memorizing what the gap in achievement numbers are, what the disciplines are, that's not going to bring equity. You have to be out, you have to understand what's going on, and make sure that you're in touch with the teachers and the students.
Thank you. Cory?
So we're facing a $25 to $30 million deficit next year, and that means major cuts in our schools. And I will say this, the equity divide will get larger when we make these cuts, because schools like my school, Canyon Creek Elementary, will have money from the PTA and parents to make up the difference. And there are other schools in our district that won't have that. And so fighting for adequate funding for our students is equitable. It will bring equity. We need adequate funding.
Thank you. David?
Equity. Provide the highest quality teacher and that teacher the resources to do their job. We need to close the achievement gap, and we need to do that uniformly across the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Stuart?
So our daughters all graduated from Round Rock High School, and we currently have no children currently in the school, so I'll have no bias from one feeder pattern to the other. The key really is, as other people have mentioned, to close the performance gaps, to improve the equity across the district, both economic equity and racial equity across the district. That's the key to solving our issues.
Thank you. Danielle?
The most glaring discrepancy regarding equity in our district can easily be seen in the achievement gap that exists in our district. The gap between our east side campuses and the rest of our district is 7 points. The gap between our Title I campuses and the rest of our campuses is 18 points. My children grew up in one of our Title I elementary schools on the east side of the district, and they are currently attending schools in the central part of the district. The achievement gap is one of the reasons I'm running.
Stephen? Forgive me. If elected, how will you work to improve transparency and how the board and district administration communicate with the Round Rock ISD community?
Okay, for one, I will utilize technology. So we'll first have to make a Round Rock ISD website searchable and sorted in a way that information is easy to find. The other one is to have a county answer for the questions, any emails or phone calls. So if an email go unanswered, that has not been transparent at all.
Thank you. Amy?
Well, I think we've talked about it a couple times, having more discussions in open meetings, bringing the community into the discussions more, will assist with transparency, making the website a little bit easier to navigate, having a lot of the records. I know I like to do my homework. I know a lot of parents like to do their homework on what's going on in the district, and sometimes it's hard to find that information. Sometimes we use Google Docs and things get saved over and there's no backup, so you can't go back and look what the last version was.
Thank you. Edward?
Yes, I have to say, after being on board for 19 months and being at these meetings till midnight, I think the latest one I attended was probably 2:20. I think there's a lot of information that's being talked about in public. As far as oversight goes, you have a citizens bond committee. There's multiple ways of transparency currently, but if I had to pick something, I would say maybe we need to make all of the public information available online.
Thank you.
It's risky because of technology, but it's possible.
Apologies. Thank you. Cory?
Transparency begins with the trustee. I am completely transparent. Go to my website. There's a policy paper on everything. I mean, if you want to know what I think, you're going to find out. Go look. I have more words on my website than all their websites combined. I have so much information, and you guys know it too. I mean, you know how much I post on Nextdoor. You know I am utterly transparent. I am the transparency we need.
Thank you. David?
We can improve transparency by following the example of the trustees of the Leander ISD and meet with the public. We're only allowed 3 minutes to speak at the board meetings. This board seemingly they're allowed.
Thank you. Stuart?
First of all, the district needs to comply with the open records access for the Texas Ethics Commission guidelines. Currently, I don't believe they are doing so. Also, as mentioned by others, we need to put all of the presentations given to the board online so that everyone has easy access to view them. The closed sessions that happen in the middle of the board meetings turn people off and bring an appearance of lack of transparency. So we need to reduce those number of closed sessions.
Thank you. Danielle?
So one of the things that I think we could start doing differently is when the school board members get emails from the public, they can reply to those emails. I'll use myself as an example. I'm not sure how many emails I should send to a trustee before a trustee ever gets back with me. Currently, there are only 2 trustees who have ever expressed any interest in circling back with me about any emails that I have sent them. One of them is here on the stage, Mr. Math at the end. The other one is not up for re-election. Also, putting more information online.
Amber?
So I think transparency relates back to a question we've already talked about tonight, and that's communication. And it's not just a one-way communication street, it's a dialogue between the community. If I'm elected, I represent you, the community, the parents, the students, the homeowners. That's who I represent, and the communication needs to happen. Make it easy to find things on the website, make it easy to find the documents. Communicate with each other, whether it's via email, whether it's via phone call. And it's one thing that's been very important in my campaign. And I've just recently posted a video just yesterday about transparency and conflict of interests.
Thank you. Jared?
Yeah, so, going through the whole CBC process, I pride myself on being one of the more vocal individuals. I think you can never be afraid that I'm going to speak my mind. I'm also not afraid to ask the hard questions and get answers for the problems and, things that we face every day. We have 50,000 students in our district, and I want you to wrap your brain around this, that we, have over 70 languages spoken in our district. And when I think about that, I think that we probably don't do a great job catering to some of the languages that are out there, and we focus on some of the mainstream. So I think.
Thank you. Steve?
One thing I've learned since I've been on the board is that school district finances are very complicated, but I know we've got a lot of smart kids and we've got a lot of smart parents that I think would really like to learn more. They'd like to learn more about M&O versus INS. They'd like to learn more about where all the money is sitting. What are all the fund balances? What have been the major withdrawals from those fund balances? And I think there's a better way to have a portal that shows a lot of that financial information for people to digest.
Thank you. This is the last question. Did I miss someone? So,
I just want to say, I think we all can agree up here on the board that it's about all the kids. Going through the process of learning about the district and the critical needs, I think we got from a big list of 800 down to just over 5. I want to fight for that. I want to make sure that every kid has a voice. I mentioned earlier, wrap your mind around having 50,000 kids in the district and over 70 languages spoken. It's an exciting time. With what I do currently, I work for a large corporation that supports another large corporation in our community. I manage a very large budget, and one of the big things that I'm going to be focused on is fiscal responsibility and making sure that we make the right calls and do what's right for our community. So, I hope you go out and vote. I hope you vote for me. I hope you vote for the bond. I ultimately have, my first job was in the school district. My parents are both educators. It's always been a part of my life. I'm just super excited to be sitting before you and hope you go out and vote.
thank you, Jared. Stephen?
So I don't really have any prepared closing remarks, so I'll just wing it and tell you, I'm just a parent. I just want what's best for kids. I have no political aspirations. I don't want to hold any formal positions on the board. I just want to do what's right. You're my customer. The kids are my customer. The community is my customer. And I will always vote my conscience. I might not always agree with other trustees and might not agree with some of the people in the community. But you will always get from me honesty and transparency and someone that wants to do right for 50,000 kids.
Thank you, Stephen. Chair?
Thank you. Thank you, PTA, for setting this up. I hope I can bring you to the board diversity, not because I'm Asian, but because of my background. I've been through ESL, learning English from scratch, and I graduated from public school. So I know the value of public education. education, and I'm an engineer, and I think that because of the way education that I have, so I can return that back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Amy?
Thank you. Thank everyone for coming out. For over 375 years, when the Massachusetts Bay Colony first established the first free taxpayer-funded public school, our public schools have been the heart of America and where the American dream comes from. And Round Rock has done a great job of inspiring our students and getting them college and career ready. We still do have a little bit of work to do. And we need to focus, I believe, on each of our learning communities a little bit separate. I told Dr. Flores one of the first times that I met him when we were talking about the McNeil Master Plan. I have 5 kids. I don't go and just buy 5 pairs of size 12 pants and hope for the best. And it's the same for our 5 high schools and our 5 learning communities. The Westwood Learning Community has different needs, different strengths and weaknesses than Stony Point Learning Community does. And if we as a board and a community can look at each of our learning communities, we can help each and every one of our kids succeed.
Thank you, Amy. Edward?
Thanks to the Westwood community for hosting tonight. When I think about, we've heard a lot tonight about first generation college students. But how about first generation high school graduate, which was me? And then I went on to get my college degree. I look across the district and I see opportunities for so many of my kids to have that opportunity as well. And that's what I want to do. I want to continue to be an advocate for all of our students, all of our teachers, and all of our taxpayers. As we move forward, I wanted to challenge myself and others. When you go into a school, typically your principal or most of your teachers will probably know who the highest performing student is. But I challenge you to ask them who is the lowest performing student in that school as well. And that way you can build those students up one by one as we move forward.
Is fighting to keep your money here. And this year, we are sending over $32 million of our tax dollars back to the state, and next year, it's over $55 million. I'm not waiting to get elected to fight. I'm fighting now, and you know it. I'm meeting with legislators and staff. I'm advocating already. Heck, my entire campaign is about educating and mobilizing our community. And do you think I'm not going to fight if I'm not elected? Of course I'm going to fight. But being a trustee will give me the platform from which to mobilize our community. And as a trustee, I can talk with other trustees around the state and help them mobilize their communities. Because it's going to take all of us fighting together to change school funding and get adequate funding, not just for our district, but for all districts in this state. And anybody who knows me in this room knows that I have the passion, the drive, the ability and experience to get this done.
Examples, the students. Girls, would you stand up and wave, please? As a teacher, when I met my students for the very first time, I'd always tell them and remind them that I'm here for them, they're not here for me. As a trustee, I expect to be held accountable by you, the voters. I'll be transparent and the taxpayer's voice. Thank you, and thank you for hosting us this evening.
Thank you, David. Stuart?
I'm going to start with some thank yous. I want to thank the PTA for organizing this. I want to thank the moderator for doing an outstanding job of keeping us all of asking questions. I want to thank the attendees out here. And I also want to thank my fellow candidates. I think all of us up here really want to do what's the best for RRISD. So now I'm talking about, I have 3 daughters who went through RRISD. And they've done very well. They did very well at RRISD, at Round Rock High School, and they've done very well since graduation. So my goals, if elected, I want to improve the transparency of the district. I want to improve the equity, both economic equity and racial equity. I want to make every student feel connected to the school they attend. And that's the bottom line. If the students feel connected to their schools, they will do well. They will feel more connected to the community. We'll have a more powerful and a better community. Crime will go down. I want to smash that school-to-prison pipeline. And in the end, that's what's going to make this a better place to live.
Thank you, Stuart. Danielle.
One of my active duty tours had me on the command staff of a security forces squadron. I was the only woman on that command staff. My husband is here tonight. He remembers that tour that I did very well. And when I got out of the Air Force, I was immediately hired to run the HR department in corporate America at an engineering firm. And ironically enough, I was the only woman on the executive team at that firm. Working in challenging environments, facing vexing problems is nothing new for me. And I've learned a lot, and I'm here and I'm offering myself to you, the voters. I'm offering my training and my experience to benefit our students. One thing that I've learned is that no matter how flat you make a pancake, there are always two sides. And I think that we have some room for improvement in understanding the diverse perspectives of our large district.
Thank you, Danielle. Amber.
So I have kids at my house all the time that I didn't actually birth. They call me mom. Why do they call me mom? Because they trust me and they know that I'm going to advocate for them. It's exactly why I'm running now. I want to advocate for your children. I want to be looking at the achievement gaps that exist in our current schools and how do we close those gaps. I want to make sure that we're looking at the root cause of problems and not just trying to address the symptoms that have come of it, put out the fires. I currently work as the Director of Quality Management, and my job is to look at issues system-wide over an 8-county area to how do we improve things, how do we do things better. I'm an auditor, I have a background in mental health with a minor in math, but I also have my master's in education, and I worked as a mental health counselor. So I'm going to be listening, I'm going to be evaluating, and I'm going to be making decisions based on facts. I believe I bring a very unique perspective to the board with my experiences and with the background in the district. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate everybody that came out tonight.
Thank you, Amber. Please join me in thanking all the candidates for your time.